Hey friends, my name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to Monday Q&A. Tonight we're going to be seeing if a new ultimate freestyle tiny whoop will be crowned. We're going to be comparing a... What even is this? Is this a Mobulus 6 2024? It is indeed. This is a Mobulus 6 2024 on 0702 40,000 kV motors transplanted into a Meteor 65 Pro frame with 1.4 inch props. These are the Gemfan 35mm S biblade 1.4 inch propellers. They're a lot for 40,000 kV motors, but I did a little bit of testing yesterday of this guy versus this guy. These are both Mobulus 6 2024s. This is a version 1, direct soldered motors. This is a version 2, motor plugs. This one, I'd converted over to a Runcam Nano 3, direct soldered it with the old school Mobulus 6 upside down ball sack canopy. This guy is on the stock camera, stock canopy. the UFL broke off, and so I had to direct solder a true RC ultra short singularity. But other than that, yeah, this one is a lot more stock than this one, but it's simple sort of stuff. And this one is on 0702 32,500 kV motors. This is on 0702 40,000 kV motors. And so I had a weird feeling that the 40,000 kV motors were too much for the bigger 1.4 inch props. So I checked the RPMs during flights, and this guy is indeed turning higher RPMs. Here's the problem. It's not turning that much extra RPM, and it's on these biblades. This guy is on the triblades. If you're going to do one of these 1.4 inch builds and you already have 40,000 kV motors, you'll be all right. Motor limit them down, I think, a little bit. If you're going to do one of these 1.4 inch builds and you're buying motors, or you don't, or you have something lower kV than 40,000, do that. These 32,500s from Weebleed seem to kind of be the sweet spot. They have plenty of power. They work with the HQ tri-blades. They work with the... I mean, obviously it works, but it works well with the different propellers that are available. HQ 1.4 and GemFan biblade. And so, yeah, but this was put together. These stators were direct soldered to this AIO. And so, yeah, this is a good sort of data point here. And tonight we're going to be comparing it to pretty similar to like a full-blown Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop. 2G4 AIO from happymodel, the most durable AIO that we've ever seen for Tiny Whoops. 0702 36,000 kV motors, the Fireflies. HQ 1.2 by 0.9 by 3 propellers. Runcam Nano 3. Mobile 6 old school canopy. All of these have micro V. Well, these two have micro Vs, obviously. This one, we talked about the antenna. And so, yeah, that's sort of the plan for tonight. Further kind of diving into the 1.4 inch prop thing and really understanding it and seeing what it's better at, but also where its limitations are. And I think I'm starting to find the limitations. I think that just like whenever you go to a bigger propeller, it's going to be heavier, and you're going to lose a little bit of response time. There's the potential to gain efficiency, but not like it's not guaranteed. The bigger propeller is going to be more draggy on the motor. It is moving the tips of the propeller, of the blades of the propeller, farther away from one another. So each propeller blade is going to come into cleaner air, right? This is the main reason that smaller propellers are less efficient. The airfoil, the blade of the propeller comes through the air, and it's going to create a high pressure zone on the bottom and a low pressure zone on top. The length of the propeller blade is blocking... Really, Canon? You haven't done this in weeks, and tonight's the night, huh? Tonight's the night. It was so good. We were doing so well. We had like multiple live streams in a row without a single EOS webcam utility shitting the bed situation. But we're back, baby. We're back. Come on. Come on back. I heard you click. I know you want to start working again. Come on. There it is. Nope. It's frozen again. Nope. We're good. So the physical blade of the propeller is blocking those high and low pressure zones, but what the hell happens here? They mix. On on 747, 757, Boeing, whatever airliners, you'll notice that at the end of the wings, they bend them up. It's like a 90 degrees. I think it's called a winglet. Sits up like the end of my finger here. They do that to more smoothly mix the high and low pressure zones at the end of the aircraft wing, right? We can't really do that on our propellers here. So the high and low pressure zones mix down here. And so you've got high pressure on the bottom, low pressure on top. Typically the high pressure is going to spill out because it's high pressure. It's going to spill out and then it's going to wrap around. And so whenever you see an airplane fly through smoke, or if you look really closely, when a propeller cuts through smoke, you'll notice that it leaves a little tornado on the end, basically. This is turbulent air. That is turbulent air that it's making. And so all the time, when the propeller blade is spinning around, there's a wake of turbulent air out here. The best thing you can do for efficiency is for an airfoil or a blade on a propeller to cut through smooth, undisturbed, laminar sort of air. Turbulent air is the opposite of that, right? And so we've always got this little vortex, these vortices on the ends of the propellers. If you've got that coming out here, and then another propeller blade comes right through and hits it, that sucks. There's a lot of inefficiency there. This is a 7-inch propeller. There's a bunch of space in between the tips. Not only is it an arc, right? But there's a lot of space between the tips of this propeller. This is going to be very efficient. 1.2-inch propellers have practically no space in between the tips of each propeller blade, and so they are extremely inefficient. The smaller the propeller, the less efficient it is. Regardless of what you do, 3-blade, 2-blade, 1-blade, high pitch, low pitch, fancy airfoil design, it doesn't matter. The smaller a propeller gets, the less efficient it gets. Period. The end. There is no getting around that. And so 1.2-inch props are the least efficient propellers that exist. I don't know, maybe somewhere somebody makes a 1-inch propeller, but you know what I'm saying. In the world of FPV, the 1.2-inch propeller is as bad as it gets. So by going up to a 1.4-inch propeller, the prop itself is going to be more efficient. The problem is we're not making the battery any bigger. We're not putting bigger motors on it. We're leaving the drivetrain exactly the same. And then we're expecting it to turn a heavier, bigger, more draggy, right? Because the prop blade is longer. So it is going to create more thrust and it is going to be more draggy. Even though it's more efficient because the vortices are given more time to disperse, it's still a bigger paddle, right, through the air. And so we're asking a lot of the 702 motors. I've tried this 1.4-inch prop thing on 0603s and 0802s, and it sucks. It's way better on 702s. I think that the 702 motor is perfectly optimized for 1.2-inch props. I think that these 1.4-inch props are pushing that motor to its absolute limit and maybe a little bit beyond. But that's kind of okay. You know, that's kind of what we want, right? Like, with a given voltage and motor, we want the ability to push that motor to its limit, and then we want the ability to be able to push it back a little bit. Previously, like, we didn't have propellers that would do that, right? And so we're in like a really good situation now where we have some fantastic prop options that have really kind of woken up this propeller size. And so yeah, that's it's a good time to be alive, my friends. Good time to be into FPV, my friends. And I think it certainly feels to me like we're really getting there and understanding the performance window of the 0702 motor, and finding different build setups where you can push that motor to its absolute limit, you're going to lose a little bit of response time, but you're going to gain some of the other benefits of a bigger propeller, potentially efficiency, but more importantly than that is the flight characteristic of surrounding sort of like disc loading. Disc loading is the ratio of how big the propeller area is to the weight of the rig. And so a 3-inch toothpick has gigantic propellers, but it's really, really, really lightweight. And that's the toothpick flying experience, where like you go 100 feet up in the air, you cut the throttle, and it takes a half an hour for the damn thing to get to the ground. It's so... The propellers are this massive parachute, right? The propellers are always spinning. And so they literally act like a parachute. They're always spinning. They're always pushing this column of air downwards. And so they're disrupting the air like this deep. And so when you come off the throttle, whether you're just flying straight forward, or if you're like this, or if you're like this, or if you're like that, or if you're like that, this is always kind of like a square of disturbed air. And so, and the bigger that square gets, the bigger the parachute. The lighter it is, the less gravity is gonna pull down on that parachute, and it's gonna take longer for it to come down. And so, like, when I talk about flight characteristics, this is the main thing, especially tonight, this is the main thing that I'm gonna be talking about. And there's a really cool balance when it comes to that disc loading, with the way that these things fly, and like what you, each one of you and me, all individually want, right? Like if from day one in FPV, you've flown really big propellered, really lightweight builds, you're going to prefer, in theory, unless like you're burned out on it and you want something different, but you're used to, how about that? You're used to that disc loading, right? Big ass parachute, not a lot of weight pulling down on it. And so for you'll dig this. You'll love this 1.4 inch lightweight setup. This will be your kind of tiny whoop. For those of us that have flown stuff that is not so drastically underweight and oversized propellered, I'm not going to say overpropped. Overpropped means that you've put a propeller on that's too big for the size of the motor. So like an example of being overpropped would be if you tried to run 702s on a 1.6 inch prop, not 1.4. 1.4 is the absolute limit, it seems. And an overpropped setup, you've got really shitty response time, and it just feels bad. It feels lazy. The PID loop has a hard time. And so those of us that have not flown rigs with that drastic of a disc loading, we maybe like these 1.2 inch rigs that are roughly the same weight, but it's a smaller propeller, it's a lighter propeller, quicker response time, stuff like that. You should be able to see that tonight. When I'm flying these things, you should be able to see the difference between higher and lower disc loading with these. And that's, yeah, you know, ultimate freestyle whoop. That's like me. It's my ultimate freestyle. This might be your ultimate freestyle tiny whoop. This might still be mine. But I'm flying these as much as I can, in case there shall be a new champion crowned. A new, you know, the ultimate freestyle tiny whoop formula has shifted and changed over the years, and it hasn't changed in a while. It hasn't changed since the 2G4, right? We're still using a fairly old AIO. Nobody's really come out with a better AIO, in my opinion, which is why we're still using it. You know, the NewBee Driven Cockroach V3 and Light AF frames came out a while ago. These tiny whoop motors have been out a while. And so, yeah, hasn't really changed much. So maybe it's time. Maybe it's time for a little bit of a shift. That's okay. I'm sort of I'm cautiously optimistic about it. I to be honest, I don't think so. I think this is still it. I think for indoor stuff, the 1.2 inch rigs are still the way to go, because the response time is so good. But boy, when you come off the throttle with this, you have a little bit of extra time before it hits the ground, and that's really nice. It's just I think the name of the game with these 1.4 inch builds is going to be keeping them absolutely as lightweight as you possibly can, to really maximize that float. The reason to do this build is for the float. And so I think the deal is that you need to keep it as light as you possibly can, which is kind of perfect because this Meteor 65 Pro frame only works with the lightweight AIOs. It only works with the AIOs that are cut down. The 2G4 AIO that's a perfect square, it doesn't fit in this frame. And it's a heavier AIO. This 1.4 inch build requires these cut down AIOs, and those are all lighter weight. What are you doing, Bobo?
Is this green or blue?
It's in between. It's
No, because
what's
my mom
this
says
color?
my mom says green, and I say blue.
Yeah, I would say it's more green than blue. There's a name for this color though. It's fartbag hippopotamus color. That's it.
Okay. No, it's more blue.
It's a perfect match. It's a perfect mix between green and blue.
No, it's not. My eyes are just better than
This
yours.
is more green. Look, this is more green than blue.
Okay.
Seafoam green, bro. Confuse them. That's the key to parenting. Confusion.
Oh, okay.
Not that I should be talking about parenting at all. I don't know what the hell. I'm lucky they're still alive after Maggie was gone for 3 days. So yeah, that's sort of the deal, friends. In the chat, Doubles FPV was first. Frank Nicholas, RC Thrills, Big Bucas, Brand Anderson, Kololo, you haven't been here in a while, brother. How you been? Metal Dirt Skin, Hendrix Freakazoid, Sean Glyph, Skull 901, BMF Spade, Metal Dirt Skin, Chris Mel, Tommy Noose, Brand Anderson, Wicked Drums, Andrew Taylor again, Brian Kirk, Jarbeezy. Jarbeezy, you haven't been here in a while either, man. How are you? Dave S. Dronzen, Brian Kirk, Tommy Noose, Kevin Sumner's in the house. What's up, homie? Level 1 Drone, Nimbus FPV, Benny Bravo, Metal Frank Nicholas, Andrew Taylor, SC Thrills, Jarbeezy again. I think I got everybody. What's up, friends? Thanks for coming. CiottiFPV.com to support me. If there's something in this world that you enjoy or like or want to see survive, support it, yo. This is a really hard lesson that I learned when Maggie and I lost our dance instructor Wilder. We'd been doing West Coast Swing, and we hadn't been. Wilder was our sort of first dance instructor, beginners, couples dance, super basic. We did it for almost an entire year. We went to every single Sunday class with him for almost an entire year. And when he took his own life, we hadn't gone to the last few classes because we were all hot and heavy on, mainly me, on West Coast Swing, different classes. And I regret that terribly. And it was a really hard lesson of no matter what, if there's something that you love, if there's somebody doing something really cool and you want to see it continue, even when you don't want to leave the house on a Sunday night, leave the fucking house on a Sunday night and go support them and go hang out and build community and blah, 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 blah. So yeah, support the things that you love, especially if it's just getting out of the house, or if it's just a few dollars, or if it's just whatever, right? There are obviously different levels of support, but if there's things that you like in the world that are good and you want to see them go on forever and ever and ever, do something, anything, do a little bit of something here and there. If a whole bunch of people do that, then that person or that group or whatever can keep doing what they're doing, and that's pretty rad. Live streaming schedule is right here. Patreon helps me out the absolute most, and you can join for as little as $3 a month. That's 10 cents a day, my friends. Etsy has some fun stickers and hardware. Fiverr, you can work one-on-one with me. More than just stickers and hardware, actually. There's motors, and there's going to be a full build on there soon. A bunch of 3D printing stuff coming there. Fiverr, you can work one-on-one with me, take advantage of 8+ years of knowledge. Teespring has some fun shirts and other random apparel. PayPal if you want to do a super chat, but you know YouTube is going to take 30%. Discord for all the fun. Searchable live stream transcripts thanks to Craig, and then lots of affiliate links. Change your bookmarks to affiliate links, my friends, so you don't have to remember to come here and hit them before you order. Amazon Get FPV, Pyro Drone, Race Day Quads, NewBee Drone, Weebly Beta FPV, FPV Cycle, Hisingi, Oh My God, Brain 3D, HD0, Fly, William X, Man, Good Camera Butter. There you go. AliExpress as well. That's how you support me, friends. Thank you very much. It's super cool. We've learned a lot, and I hope that I've helped you guys buy the right stuff, not buy the wrong stuff, and just have more fun in your lives over the last, like, 3+ years, I guess, that I've been doing this. It certainly seems that way. I get a lot of really kind messages from you folks, letting me know that, yeah, I've been a good influence. So that's pretty cool. I'm very lucky. Brett Anderson, if you want to talk directly to me in the chat, type CiottiFPV like Brett Anderson did. He said CiottiFPV, salute! Matt Anderson says, the way it was explained to me, the greater the speed difference between the air the prop is pushing and the ambient air, the more efficiency you lose to turbulence. Yep. Yeah, for sure. And it's exponential, right? You can think about it like air resistance in your car. To go from 20 miles an hour to 40 miles an hour, it's not double the horsepower. Like, if you've got a car with X amount of horsepower and full tilt, it only goes 20 miles an hour. You have to square that amount of horsepower to get from 20 to 40. You don't double it. You can't go from 10 horsepower to 20 horsepower and go from 20 miles an hour to 40 miles an hour. It doesn't work like that. Is it a part of the inverse square law, or is that lighting? Inverse square law is lighting, isn't it? Pretty sure it's light. Yeah, inverse square law is lighting. What's the law that has the math for wind resistance? I don't know. That's Newton's sine law square of air resistance. There you go. I was pretty sure that terrible string of words that I put in would not get would not get a good reply from Google. What is the law of wind resistance? Isaac Newton's sine squared law of air resistance, as the formula implies the force on a flat plate immersed in a moving fluid is proportional to the square of the sine of the angle of attack. I don't think that's actually what I'm looking for, but that's okay. That's fine. Yeah, wind resistance goes up exponentially, literally exponentially. And so the faster you spin a prop, significantly more power is going to be taken. Is going to be needed, rather. Dronesen says, what's up, everyone? CiottiFPV, what's up, man? Brian Kirk says, I lost my pin vise. I probably need to order a new one so I can find the lost one. That'll do it. And then you'll have two. You'll have one for your flight bag, and you'll have one for your desk. It'll be great. You'll love it. Brian Kirk says, did you change the motor limit on the race spec version 3.1 back to 100%? I did not. Thank you for reminding me. On yesterday's live stream, the 1.2-inch build that we were trying, I had pulled out of the, flying. When I put it onto the 1.4-inch prop frame, I motor limited it down to 90% because it was just like making it was just too powerful. And then when I put it back into the smaller frame, I forgot to change the motor limit. What's insane is that I didn't notice it. These NewBee drone motors make so much power that I didn't even notice it. But I'm going to change that right now. That would also possibly explain why this thing was so efficient. I was kind of shocked by how efficient this little guy was. because previously I didn't think it was all that efficient when I was flying it at 100% motor output limit. So thank you for noticing that, Brian, and thank you for reminding me. If anyone's curious where the motor limiting is, it's right in here, motor output limit. This is going to limit both your throttle and the PIDs. In most cases, if you have a build that's so overpowered that you want a little bit less power, you should do it with this. Because if it's that overpowered, you don't want the PIDs to have that much power either. And so motor output limit is a really, really, really good idea. But in this case, this rig is not so... It's not that overpowered, so it's fine. And now we're back up to full stank-a-lot-of-puss, which is great. I'm really tempted to fly it. Let's fly it. Just as a continuation of yesterday's live stream. This is the you had to wait 24 hours, more than 24 hours, for the full conclusion of yesterday's live stream. What the hell was that noise? What was that? Aliens? Alien, go away! Go away! You're not welcome here. Maybe they're afraid of tiny whoops. Here we go, 100%. We're all gonna die. Here we go. CAC firmware. Whoa! That might not be enough. That's what you do when your shit flies away, my friends. You can also do that with the master multiplier. Chill out! Chill out, little buddy. Nah, it's still too much. Jesus. The problem is that this just makes all the power on Earth. Which is, I guess, sort of a good problem to have. Give us one more try. Better. Blipping the throttle like that is one of the easiest ways to tell if your shit is at the limit of the tune. This is ridiculous. Yeah, I remember this now. It makes too much. It makes too much power. Jesus! Especially for the weight that it is. It's just crazy. Hardcore race rig, friends. Oh my god! It has so much power and it's so light that, like, it appears to float forever. Oh my god, that was crazy. It's not actually float, though. Well, it is. Oh! It's kind of float. It's more like, it's the upwards momentum that makes me look like this floats so well. Ready? Upwards! Now down. Like, it's so light and it's got so much power that blip up. Now it's coming down, right? Like, it spends a shitload of time at 0 throttle on the way up. Woo! I'm getting better at that, man. Wall ride! And then weird, like, pitch forward turn or corner turn. Woo! Woo! Oh, God! Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We're good. Maggie's building the Lego Orchid that she got for Mother's Day. There it is. Look at that. Should I knock it over? Let me knock it over, right? Oh, Teddy! Teddy! Teddy trying to eat me! Oh! Oh no! Oh no! Teddy was pissed that I was messing with him. Oh god! Oh boy. Goggles are getting all fogged up. Woo! Oh my god! It's so fast! It's just... It's like... It doesn't have as much high speed, as much top speed, or like maximum RPM as the 40,000 kV motors. What it has is just outrageous levels of acceleration. Like, you hammer the throttle, and it just goes from like a standstill to 30, 40 miles an hour instantly. Like, it's absolutely insane in that way. The RC and Power motors are even more insane in that respect. But boy, these NewBee drone 702 30,000s are something else. They make all the power. And then this is, again, the race spec build, so it's just outrageously lightweight. Crazy rig. Super cool to see like what's possible, but a bit much. This is a bit much, admittedly. I love that it exists, though. And for hardcore racers, that thing is a miracle. You can just buy something and then go win races, like, competitively. So cool. So cool. All right. We're going to put this battery back on the charger because we're going to need it later. I'm going to take a couple of these batteries off the charger and throw a few more on. Because I want to put some batteries in tonight here to really try to kind of dial in on these things. So... here's 2 more on the charger. This should be 8 total. Once I get caught up on chat, we'll start flying. Kevin Sumner says, are we testing Betteridge's law of headlines tonight? What's that? Hold on, let's see. What's Betteridge's law of headlines? Is it that clickbait is... Oh! Any headline that ends in a question mark can be answered by the word no. Nice. Yes, we are, because it could totally be answered with the word no. It might, maybe. Have to stay here and find out. Benny Bravo says, got the new frame and some 35 millimeters coming, V4 to 35 mil biblade, thanks to you. Interested to try it out. Very cool. The folks that have tried it out, Teal, that's it. Thank you, guys. The folks that have tried out the 1.4 inch thing seem to really like it, which is cool. I dig that you guys can feel the difference, can tell the difference. That's pretty rad. So a lot of stuff in FPV, it's really mired in like placebo of like, I just spent $40. You better fucking believe that my brain is going to tell me that I can feel the difference between this motor and that motor. But in reality, like a lot of times you actually kind of can't. Metaritzin says, how would you find a noob-friendly West Coast swing instructor / class? My girlfriend and I are considering giving that a shot. You should just be able to Google it. What's like the closest big city to you? If you Google so for me, right? Here, look, right? So for me, the city that I live in is Lawrenceville, but it's kind of a smaller city. But if I type West Coast swing classes Lawrenceville into Google, it should, yep. So it finds Wicked Westy, which is like the place that's not in Lawrenceville, but it's like 25 minutes from here. This is where I've done like all of the West Coast swing shit is at Wicked Westy. So yeah, Google should have your back. Google is also going to pull Facebook results now, Facebook groups actually, which is really, really cool. So you should be able to find it on page one of Google. If there's not anything West Coast swing specific, it'll at least like pull up dance studios and just call them. Just call around like 1 or 2 dance studios. They'll know what West Coast swing is, and they'll be able to get you linked in with a group. It's I'm pretty sure that West Coast swing is the most popular form of couples dancing right now in this country. And and so it's everywhere. So you'll be able to find something fairly local. You can also learn on the internet. I've learned a ton of shit from YouTube. There's the best resource that I've found. There's two main resources. The one that's a little bit better is West Coast Swing Online. That's literally the name of the channel. West Coast Swing Online with Brian B and Megan B. They're great, and they've got like all the basics, and it's an awesome place to kind of get started while you're waiting to go or in between classes or whatever. I thought that I was sharing my screen, but I was not. Yeah, West Coast Swing Online. This is the best. There's the link in chat. This is the best way to kind of get started at home when nobody can, when you don't have to worry about somebody looking at you, when you don't have to worry about feeling embarrassed because you're the worst one in the class. Guess what? Everybody sucks. It's okay. Every single person was as horrible as you are right now. So just go do it. It's fine. It's actually like, it's really good practice as a human being, doing something like this, which is, you're gonna feel like an asshole. You're gonna be the worst person in the class. You're gonna look the worst. And like, in 2025, that's really hard for most people. Most people will like think about that and be like, fuck that. No, I'm just gonna watch Netflix all night. I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna go and look like an asshole. And so like it's really good to force yourself to go do that and then to go look like an asshole and afterwards to be like, oh, I looked like an asshole, and it doesn't matter at all to anyone. Like, we don't do that enough as adults, and I think it's kind of important for us to do that because it keeps us from doing stuff, right? Like, if you've ever like seen something and been like, oh, that'd be fun to do, and then you're like, nah, I don't want to look like an asshole, forget it. That could have been the coolest thing in the world. Like, your brain could be wired perfectly for that thing to where you'd be like really good at it and you would really enjoy it, but you didn't do it because of this like really awkward, weird fear of embarrassment that we've developed by watching people that are really good at shit on the internet too goddamn much. So fight that shit, yo. Don't let some weird fear of looking bad or being embarrassed stop you from doing things. Just do things. Everybody looks like an asshole all the time. Join them. More people look like assholes than people look good at doing things. So join Team Asshole and look like an idiot. It's good for you. Afeel says, I have a Rotor Riot 40mm 2S. I'm curious why it doesn't have a capacitor. Do 2S drones not require capacitors? There's a properly designed ESC and or AIO and or flight controller will not require capacitors. There's no like necessity for a capacitor on any FPV build if the components are designed properly. And like we've developed this like thinking that external capacitors are required and they're normal. Because we've done it a lot in 5-inch rigs. But that's not the case. We didn't originally do capacitors. We started doing capacitors. And now as the electronics have gotten better, we don't actually need to do capacitors as much. And so, yeah, erase that part of your mind that thinks that capacitors are a requirement and that it's weird to not use them. Flip that. And realize that, like, if you've got electrical noise or if you've got space, like, this is kind of the other thing about capacitors is they don't hurt. They're never going to hurt anything. So if you have the space for a capacitor, just put one in because it's never going to hurt anything and it could potentially make things a little bit better. But yeah, with tiny whoops, space is the problem. There's not a really good spot to package a capacitor on builds that look like this. Sure, you can cram one on the side here and leave it hanging off. It's gonna break off, and then when it breaks off, it's gonna it has the potential to, like, if one leg breaks off and then it's jumping, it'll freak the flight controller out, and the flight controller will reset and do all kinds of weird stuff. And so, yeah, we don't put them on tiny whoops because there's not a great spot for them. Most AIOs don't seem to really need them, but they would probably help a little bit. But where are you going to put it is kind of the deal. They also weigh something. And so with these little guys, we're trying to keep every fraction of a gram out of them. And so that's another reason that we don't run these. If you've got a build that won't mind the extra couple grams of weight, and there is a good spot where you can secure it, it's not going to break off, and it's not going to get in the way of other shit, might as well put one on. So yeah, good question, brother. Danzel the Terrible says, hey. Benny Bravo says, CiottiFPV has saved me tons of time and money with his knowledge and willingness to answer questions in an open format. He is by far my favorite FPV channel and knowledge base. Thank you for all of that. Thank you, dude. Very kind of you to say. PUC says, just picked up a 35mm prop HD0 whoop with Eco VTX for the same price as my Air 65. That's pretty cool. HD0 AIO 5 with the 1.4-inch setup might be pretty good. Or it might be a little too heavy. I haven't really figured out yet whether or not we are actually getting more efficiency from these 1.4-inch setups. I have a feeling that we're maybe not. If we are, it's fairly subtle. It's not a big deal. So I don't know about going to a 1.4-inch setup from a 1.2-inch setup to try to get more efficiency. I don't think it's worth it to do that. I think the reason is that you want more float. I think that is the reason to do this 1.4-inch build. At some point, I'll take a 1.2-inch build, I'll run a whole bunch of batteries through it, I'll pay attention to the run times, and then I'll swap it into a 1.4-inch frame, and I'll run a bunch of batteries, and I'll pay attention to the run times. Where that kind of goes out the window is that we don't have identical props for each. Like this Gemfan 35mm S propeller, the blade profile is different than the Gemfan 1210. So like we can't do an apples to apples comparison, but we can run like some of the best 1.2-inch propellers. Like, so what I would do is I would run the HQ 1.2 by 1.2 by 2 bi-blade, because that's like the best of the 1.2-inch bi-blades right now. And then I would run the 35mm S Gemfan because this is the best of the 1.4-inch bi-blades, right? So that would kind of be the test. Or I could do the test 1.2 by 0.9 by 3 versus the 1.4 by 1.1 by 3. Two of the best tri-blades available, right? So I will do that because I am very curious. But I don't think it's significant. I think you're going to maybe get like 5 or 10 extra seconds from the 1.4-inch props, which is not enough. That's interesting. I wonder if the AIO... So, like, the AIO 5 is a little bit heavier. You're going to be in, like, the 20-21 gram range, probably. And that might be a little bit kind of too much. Yeah, I don't know. If you want more float, 1.4. If you want better response time, 1.2. That actually covers it. You know, if you just keep that in your head, that's going to cover, like, at least 80% of the difference between these two. PUC also says, with custom-made 702 25,000s. Okay. So with a 702 25,000 kV motor, that's a lower kV. 1.4 is a great idea. Yeah. The 1.4-inch props are absolutely going to make more thrust than the smaller 1.2-inch props. And that motor being a relatively low kV in the world of 702s, right? 702s are like 30,000, 32,000, 40,000, 36,000. Yeah, really, that's the right move for those motors. Very cool. Kevin Sumner says, you just looking for the drag equation? I guess that's what I was kind of looking for. Yeah. Benny Bravo says, what actually causes a Happy Model 702 27,000 kV Whoop Trek edition to just stop working? I checked all the motor wires and plug. Other motors work fine on the same ESC, just one motor not turning. Either the winding material has broken. So, you know, the stator poles are like these rectangles, and then they take the winding material and they pull it and they wrap it up, and then they 90-degree that fucker, and they pull it across, and then they 90-degree it, and they pull it down, and then they 90-degree it, right? And the stator poles are kind of sharp. And so if that winding material gets pulled too hard and creased too hard, it can literally break. Usually it won't. Usually it'll break if the bell is spinning, and it gets compressed, and it comes down, and it hits the winding material. It can break through the winding material like that. It also could be the solder joint between the motor wires and the base of the motor. It could be the crimped on connectors on the connector itself. Or it could be if it's a Happy Model or another WYE motor, it could be the something weird with the termination. That little WYE termination could have gotten screwed up, I think. Don't quote me on that one, but yeah, those are the main things that are going to cause a motor to die. Kind of doesn't matter. Well, I guess it does matter if it's related to the windings. It doesn't matter because you can't fix it anyway. It's not that you can't fix it, but you're not going to fix it. If it's one of the motor wires, you could somewhat easily fix that. I don't know if it's $10 easy, which is what it would cost to just replace the motor, right? But yeah, you'll be able to fix it. Jarbeezy says, introducing indoor stick bang. No, I'm not. You guys can. I ain't though. Mick Buka says, you know how your whoop still works kind of okay when you break off the ceramic antenna? Well, why won't it still kind of work if you chop off the tip of your T-shaped antenna? Because I think it's because ELRS is just so much. It's just so like robust. ELRS is just such a strong link that no ELRS antenna is going to give you a lot more range than no. Oh wait, you said T-shaped. I just assumed you were talking about the video antenna for some reason. That's an interesting question. You chop off the tip of your T-shaped antenna. So like when you chop a T antenna, you're bringing the antenna out of tune. And I guess that's why. I guess if you have an antenna and you chop a bit of it off, that antenna is now completely tuned wrong. Whereas if a ceramic antenna breaks off, it's no longer tuned wrong, but there just is no antenna. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm going to assume the answer is that the shortened antenna is tuned completely wrong, so it's coming nowhere close to the frequency band that you want it. It used to be here, you chopped the tip off, and it went way down here. So it's only transmitting down here. Without an antenna, maybe it's just transmitting all over the goddamn place. And so you're still getting it where you want it here, right? Because it's just blasting all over the goddamn place. Whereas with a shortened antenna, it's transmitting perfectly down here, which is not going to do you any good. You need it to be up here. You need it to be either everywhere or up here, right? I think that'd be my guess. Somewhat educated guess. Islander FPV says, the next time you plan on flying the 1.4-inch 40,000 kV rig outside, which I haven't actually done that yet, could you please test the power on the Weebleed 450 mAh long batteries? I'm thinking the small 300 mAh can't keep up. We'll do that tonight. I'll put one of these long boys on the charger, and we will hammer the shit out of it upstairs and see if it blows the ESC to Kingdom Come. We are going to get to the point where we start cooking these ESC FETs. Mark my words. We might already be there. You know, we've got these ridiculous RPM motors, and now we've got even more draggy, even more powerful props. And the 2G4 well, we're not going to be running on a 2G4, but the Mobula 6 2024 AIO, and many of the, I think most, all but the NewBee drone of these smaller cut down AIOs only have 5 amp FETs. That's 5 amps continuous. The burst rating on the FETs is probably like 6 or 7 amps. And there's 4 channels, right? So even at 5 amps per, that's 20 total. The burst rate for continuous, the burst rating is going to be at least 24, maybe 28 total. And the burst rating on the ESC FETs is usually like at least 2 or 3 full seconds. Even these long bastard batteries, even the Javelin jousting batteries, I doubt that they're going to output 20 plus amps for more than like a half a second, right? Even these big boys are going to probably sag down a bit. But we'll see. We'll run one of them on it tonight. That's a really good idea. And I'm all caught up on chat. Let's start flying. I've got 3 batteries ready to go. The last thing I flew was 1.2, so we're going to stay on the 1.2 inch train. This is the ultimate freestyle tiny whoop. There are a couple parts that there are like 1 or 2 different options. The first being the frame. This is the NewBee drone Light AF frame. I also love the Cockroach V3 frame. Either one is an ultimate freestyle tiny whoop. This is the slightly lighter one. These are the Tiny Whoop Firefly motors, 0702, 36,000 kV. I also like the 40,000 kV motors from Weebleed. I also like the 32,000 kV motors from both Tiny Whoop and Weebleed. Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop can have any of those motors, 32,000, 36,000, 40,000, but they got to be 702s. These are HQ 1.2 by 0.9 by 3. These are some of my favorite propellers. I also love the biblade version of these. Again, a couple different prop options that are really, really good that'll work on this setup. The rest of the Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop setup is kind of set. It's the happymodel 2G4 AIO. It's the RunCam Nano 3 camera. It's the old school Mobula 6 canopy. And then the antenna kind of doesn't matter, but the ORT Micro V is my favorite antenna at the moment. That's it, man. That's the Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop. It is designed, it's been designed and built and whatever to be hysterically durable, as lightweight as possible without sacrificing any durability whatsoever. And yeah, it does a better job with all of those things put together than any other build that I've ever done. I love the CO3 camera, but this Betaflight banana hammock G-string canopy is nowhere near as durable as this old school Mobula 6 canopy. And so it's not the ultimate for me because I place durability really high in the list of things that are important. And this is a no compromises, like crash the living shit out of it over and over and over again setup. That is like so much fun. It is so much fun to have something that's just pretty much invincible. That you can never have that moment of like, I want to try that dive, but I'm afraid of breaking my shit. Like you look at the dive and you're like, we're already in it. Like you just pound the shit out of it. And you don't give any fucks about the possibility of it breaking because it's not going to break. It's just so cool to have something like that. 17.3 grams, so it's fairly lightweight. 18 grams is easy. 17 grams it takes a little bit of work. 16 grams is a pain in the ass, and you sacrifice durability at 16 grams. So yeah, 17.3. For the 1.2 inch rig we're going to be flying tonight. And then 17.8 for the 1.4 inch rig that we're flying tonight. They shouldn't be that close together in weight. The 1.2 inch build is the Mobula 6 2024 version 2 that has the motor plugs. The 1.4-inch build is the version 1 that's direct soldered. This is on purpose. I specifically put the well, I had to. I'm sorry, this is a 2G4. This is a 2G4. But the 2G4 is a heavier AIO, right? The 1.4-inch rig is as close as it is from a weight perspective because the AIO is lighter weight. The Module 6 2024 AIO is lighter weight than the 2G4. But that's kind of perfect because I want to isolate the propeller size, right? These things are so close together in dry weight that what we're really going to look at is what a difference the propeller size kind of makes. At the moment, we're also going to be looking at the difference between triblades and biblades, but I am going to put this on the onto biblades right now. Actually, I was going to put like a battery or two up in the air on these triblades because I really do like how these HQ triblades fly, but that doesn't really help us because there's such a difference in the way 3 blades fly versus 2 blades that like that's not what we're going for here. So let's change this up. I'm gonna put this onto the best 1.2-inch biblades that we've got, which are the HQ ultralights. This 1.4-inch build is on the best 1.4-inch biblades that we've got, which are the GemFan 35mm S's. I hope HQ comes out with a 1.4-inch biblade. That'd be super cool. I would love that. But today, this is what we got. We're running each one of these on the best of the propellers that are available. And I think that's a fair test. You know, like, yes, they are different propellers from 2 totally different manufacturers. But we're running what we got. We're running what we have access to, right? Okay. Hold on. Do I have a matching set of these biblades by chance? What color should we go in the biblades? It's a green build. Should we go smoke crotch gray, pink, or purple? It's purple. The answer is purple. Green and purple. Always green and purple. I do have 2 green biblades that I'll use, though. There's a left side high. Here's a right side high. We'll do 2 green and 2 purple biblades. What do you think of that? Left side high and right side high. Cool. Green in the back? Yeah, green in the back. Ooh, shit. That propeller needed to be drilled out. I just jammed it on there. I got a little carried away. This one, of course, the one that I didn't just hammer onto the quad does not need to be drilled out. Yeah, that one's perfect. These are probably fresh, and so they absolutely need to be drilled out. Once you have a pin vise, once you have a 0.99mm drill bit and a 1.46mm drill bit, you'll be able to take a prop and push it onto the drill bit, and you'll know if it's too tight or not. Also, keep in mind that different motors have slightly different thickness motor shafts. I've found the happymodel motors to have slightly thicker motor shafts. So if I drill a propeller out perfectly for a happymodel motor, and then I put it onto a NewBee drone motor, it'll fly off. Super annoying. RC and Power as well. RC and Power motor shafts are definitely a little bit undersized versus happymodel. Betaflight, I think they're about the same. I've not had that experience with Betaflight, which is good. Why is this propeller felt fine on the drill bit, but I just started pushing it onto that motor, and it really fought me. So let's put it back on here. Just pass it up and down another couple times. And let's see if that's any better. Man, no, that's still really... I had to really push that on there. All right, we're good. Green and purple, yo. If you're not going to look good, if you're not going to fly good, you damn well better look good. Ebony and Ivory tonight. We're going to fly Ivory first. Couple of batteries on this guy, and then we're going to switch over. And then I'm going to fly a few on the bigger propeller rig, and then we're going to switch back. The first battery when you switch, that's when you learn everything. So 1.2 first. Away we go. Teddy is ready. Teddy is ready to go. Look at this beautiful LED in the back of this thing on the 180 degree BT 2.0 lead. One of my favorite things on Tiny Whoop's website right now. Oh boy. We are low power until first armed right now. Hold on. The lowest power setting on this AIO is pit mode. And so we are in pit mode right now, but now we're not. And there he is. Watching. Judging. Getting ready to get a Tiny Whoop stuck in his beard. You good, buddy? You okay? Oh my god. Take a minute to get used to the Run Cam Nano 3. Stop it! Also, I'm having to get used to a much lower hover point. See how I keep dropping down? That NewBee drone rig has a super low hover point. Let me just get used to this here. 35. Let me actually check the midpoint. 31, 32, 33, 34. 34. So I'm going to set the midpoint for the throttle expo to 35. That's probably about right. Profile. Rate. Throttle mid is 38. That's probably about right. 38 is probably about right for when I have the nose down and I'm cruising fast. But we'll just drop it down a little bit because it did not feel right. Now it feels right. Yep, now it feels much better. I'm sitting there staring at the throttle value rather than where I'm going. 34, 35, 40. Now, you know what? 38 was right. 38 was the right number. I'm just I've been flying stuff that has a lower hover point. And now I could move that number down to artificially like raise the hover point up a little bit. But what fun is that? So here we go. 1.2 inch Ultimate Freestyle crash rig. Ultimate Freestyle whoop. Whoa. 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 Boy, does this feel different than that NewBee drone build. Jesus Christ. Oh, shit. Don't go in the sink. Oh, it's close to the sink. Careful, careful. Oh, I might not be able to get out of here. Nope, I gotta go get it. Shit! Be right back. That's more fun than watching me fly, isn't it? Be honest. Oh, Teddy! Jesus, boy. I'm also maybe getting used to biblades versus triblades. I'm flying a lot of triblades lately. Oh, Teddy! I'm pretty sure he got that one in the face. Yeah, it's gonna take me a minute to get used to this. Oh no! Stick helmet got me. So just be patient. No! Man, the hover point is brutal. There we go. No, no, no! Oh god, no! Also a slightly different, different up tilt. I've been flying stuff that's kind of higher up tilt. One of the great things about these old school Mobile 6 canopies is that you can adjust the up tilt. So you can run like a nice low up tilt, which is what I usually do. This is probably like a 15-ish degree amount of up tilt here, which is fairly low. That's considered to be low. Here's a very fresh battery. Let's run this on a super fresh battery and take a look at what we got going on here. Actually, first, let me fire up each motor individually. Make sure this thing is healthy. So, that's all 4 motors. Did you hear that they all were the same pitch? It was like, ah! The pitch was like right around there. Ah! That is... Oh. That is a good way of being able to tell that all 4 motors are putting out the same amount of power. If one of them was making more or less power... it would be a different pitch. It would be a higher or a lower pitch. And so this thing is... he just saunters on over. This guy is healthy. The PID loop, though, is at the limit. And so... that is me backing the PID loop off a little bit. Just to make sure I have a little more headroom. As you can see, still 0 prop wash. Oh, yo. Oh! Didn't expect that to be there, but that just adds to the challenge. Here we go. Right at the dog bowl. Oh god, please no! This is a dumb... I'm gonna end up in the dog bowl. I'm just calling it right now. If you call it, then it's okay when it happens. Ah! That was so dumb. I looked right at the chair. I was like, I probably won't make it. Dog bowl was coming at me a little too fast there. Oh! I hit something hard just now. Because it was the built-ins there. Oh! Slapping it down. Oh my god. Not keeping it off the ground is... not doing as good of a job keeping it off the ground as I normally do. I've gotten used to stuff that is not this. This is actually really good that the struggle is a good thing, because the struggle means that there's something seriously different about this. To me, this just kind of feels normal, because this is what I've flown a billion batteries through. I'm not flying it all that good right now, because I've adjusted to something else. But, yeah. This is the way the Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Boop flies. And it does all the things. I'm just not doing them as good as I normally do. And now I'm getting stuck under the couch like a chump. I must have caught that by a fucking millimeter. Ah! See, so you see me hitting the bottom of this stuff? That's because I'm not used to the hover point. Hold on, let me hold the transmitter a little bit differently, actually. Let me just kind of slide my hands up a little bit on the transmitter. It's interesting. Sometimes the Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop feels heavy. I wish I had a better way of putting that into words. It's not heavy. It's 17 point something grams, and it makes really good power. But I don't know. There's just something about it that kind of feels a little bit sort of heavy. And when you see me hitting the bottom of stuff, that's that. The hover point is up higher than what I'm kind of used to. I will absolutely get adjusted to this. But that's important. Like, that's... Woo! That is the difference. Those are the differences in flight characteristic here. Woo! It hit the top of both the front and the back of the gate. That was too fucking cool. The PID loop was earning its fucking keep on that one, bro. That was incredible that it just pushed right through that. Oh, really? I just wanted to fly out the side of it, you colossal asshole. Woo! Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddies. We're getting used to it. I haven't done one of those in a while. It's because they're so fucking easy. The whole, like, backwards dive thing is like, oh, God. Oh, it's a backwards dive. Bro, you fly into something, and you cut the throttle. And then you just blip the throttle at random, and it'll probably come out of there. And, like, I don't think backwards dives look all that good either. It's like, what's happening? I'm looking up, and I'm falling, and I can't see, like... I don't know. Ugh. Oh! Coffee table is always the best test of throttle resolution. It's obnoxiously low, and it is just ground effect central. The wind is coming down, then bouncing back up. It's also just really low. Like, there's these outer rails here that make it extremely low. These guys right here on my right, this little rail, this makes this coffee table mega low to the ground. Ah. There he is. Coming to investigate. Oh, this battery is sagging to hell. Why did I not get a low battery warning? Interesting. 2 minutes and 50. Ran the battery down to where it's going to bounce back to like 3.7, it looks like. 51,800 RPM. Ever since the last time I disarmed. So let's... Speaking of that RPM, let's dive into that a little bit. Man, this thing feels so different from all the other stuff that I've been flying lately. I'm kind of shocked. These 16 gram rigs are really insane. And then with the bigger 1.4 inch props, it's just, yeah, this is really different. I'm gonna do one more. I'm just kind of starting to get adjusted to this, So let me do one more on here, and then we're going to go to the 1.4 inch build. But this is... I'm blown away at how different this feels. And that's a good thing. We learning. We figuring it out. Why is it so hot down here? Ortiz is couch locked. You high, brother? Are we in here? We're good. What's so noisy on the what's so noisy? Is it this big thing of hair here? Sitting here at idle like sounds like a shit relay. Oh! No offense. No, which one is... It's motor 1. Why is motor 1 so clicky? Why so clicky, motor number 1? What's your deal? Be less clicky. It says, nah, bro. I click. Fresh battery. Let's get a full throttle test here with the 36,000 kV motors. See what they'll wind up to. That was a pretty good one. Oh, shit, no. Dog bowl. Oh, we're good. 56,400, call it. Somebody type that in chat, please. 56,400. That, I might have gotten a little bit more than that. Let's see. 59! There we go. 59,000 RPM. Somebody put that into chat. That's what I want to see in chat. Oh, God. That was a piss poor Oh, no. Oh, I can't believe I got out of there. Oh, I just missed that cube there. No, what am I doing? No, what am I doing? Oh, I just barely caught the top of the cube there. You know what I want to try? I want to try power looping from this cube to this cube, to the lit cube. I refuse to believe that I haven't never done that before. Oh shit. That might be unrecoverable. Nah, we're good. We'll be alright. You stop that. Well, now I'm just kind of like, well, fuck it. I'll just power loop from cube to cube all day. Ah! Ah! But no, I really want to go from the GemFan cube to the Weebleed cube. Let's get it. Let's get it. Ah, that was close. I kind of chickened out. Hard part about this is not hitting this when I do the... to get into and out of this. Like that. That's me hitting this. So I gotta go in and then shoot right out of there. Like that. Really? What the fuck? Oh my god. One more time. Try it one more time. Oh my god. Well, just once more after this. What? That little teddy head. Teddy's my supervisor tonight. There it is! Oh, really? Oh my god, are you fucking kidding me right now? What the fuck? What is this? Where am I? What the hell? Hey! That was crazy. That was wedged under there. Super weird. Okay. I'm all adjusted to this thing now. And now we switch. Hold up, though. Let me get a little lens cleaner. Is this lens dirty? Or does it just look like that? Bet you it's a little dirty. Inside the light bulb. It was a little bit dirty. If you look real carefully, you can see some diagonal lines. This is a build that might benefit from a capacitor. This is the oh no, this is the 2G4. Why does the 2G4 have diagonal lines like that? That's weird. It might not. A capacitor might not actually help this rig, but it might. Random video noise shit like that sometimes is the issue is not enough capacitance from built-in capacitors. And when they started going super lightweight on these AIOs, not only did they lose real estate by cutting the PCBs smaller, but they're taking stuff off the board that weighs something, and capacitors are like an easy target to kind of remove. The happymodel Diamond AIO is a perfect example of this. They made the AIO much smaller, and they removed a ton of capacitors, and they removed too many capacitors. And that board, the reason why that board is such a disaster is electrical noise. There's not enough capacitors on there to smooth out the electricity, in my opinion. And that's why that thing is just a useless AIO in most cases, if you want to make any power through it. You can put really low-powered motors on that AIO, and it will kind of sort of work. But you'll still never get a really good tune on it. I mean, A, because the motors will be too low of a kV, but B, because there's a lot of electrical noise on that board. So yeah, these lightweight boards are going to be noisier, but this is not a lightweight board. This is a 2G4. It's got plenty of capacitors, and it usually gives a really clean video signal. So maybe there's something weird going on with the wiring, or where's the ELRS antenna at? Oh, this is still on a ceramic tower, eh? Ceramic tower hasn't broken off of this yet. Yeah, the ELRS antenna is right next to the corner of the... Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why it's got those horizontal lines. Now we're going to switch over to the 1.4-inch build. This is a Mobula 6 2024 V1 direct soldered motors, 0702, 40,000 kV motors, gem fan 35mm S propellers, black Meteor 65 Pro frame, Runcam Nano 3, old school Mobula 6 canopy, ORT micro V antenna. That's it. 300 mAh BT 2.0 batteries. Here we go. Is this the new Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop? Or just Whoop? A very cool red 180 degree BT 2.0 on the back of this one. 3 beeps means it's time to fly. Teddy, you got to back up a little bit, friend. Or not. So, first impression is, holy hell, the hover point is a lot lower. My God. These motors are a lot higher kV. Well, not a lot. 36,000 versus now 40,000. But I think it's the bigger propellers that are really bringing the hover point down. Let's get a massive RPM test. Wow, that sagged the battery all the way down. Holy. I mean, I'm asking a lot of it. It's 40,000 kV motors with big propellers. 54,000 kV. What was the kV on the other one? It was 59. Yeah, so 59 versus 54. We'll do that again on the next battery. But yeah, I mean, look, these propellers are bigger and draggier. And so even though the motors are a higher kV, woo! Was that the fridge trying to get me? Yeah, it was. Man, it feels fine. Like from a response time kind of perspective, it does not feel lazy at all. It's, you notice that it's just kind of slower? There's more wind resistance, and so sort of like all the time, it's just going to be pushing a slightly bigger wall of air around. Oh. And it's also about the same weight, right? Like bigger props with the same weight, and it's going to feel slower. The heavier a build is, when you hover, you're going to have to make more downwards thrust. And so if you put the nose down, for example, at that point, it's going to spill more thrust rearwards. That all goes out the window as soon as you have to change directions. But heavier rigs do this thing where they seem like they're faster. What I'm pretty sure is going on is that like if you put the nose down a little bit, there's going to be a lot more thrust going backwards. So I think like the heavier a rig is, the faster it's going to go at each amount of nose down. So like 5 degrees of pitch forward, a really heavy rig is going to be hauling ass, and a really lightweight rig is just going to be kind of cruising along slowish. 2 minutes and 40 on the runtime. Let's get another battery in here and try that RPM test again, because that is a massive difference in actual RPM. Let's try this Weebly battery. It looks fresh. Here we go. What's up, 360 aerial movements? Dronzen says, have you thought about 3D printing and building one of the NewBee drone B cars? Use it to chase the drift guys, or just for different perspective? No, because it's no. I'm zero throttle right now. What's going on, buddy? That was a little weird. Frank Nicholas had sent me one of those a brushed Acrobee that he bought by mistake. And he was like, yo, you should build one of those car things with it. And I was just like, yo, I won't. Like, I have so much other stuff going on. 55,000 RPM. There we go. Yeah, I have so much other stuff going on. Also, the drift car place closed. They ran into some permit issues with the city that they were unable to get figured out, and they've had to close their doors. So, yeah, I don't have a place to go chase RC drift cars, which kind of sucks. If I wanted to do a car, an FPV car, I would link up with those RC drift car guys and do like, well, first, I have everything that I need with the little tiny K truck that Tiny Whoop sent me way back when. I have a VTX and a camera in the damn thing. It's right here, actually. There's a VTX and a camera sitting in the driver's seat of this damn thing. I just haven't made the time to do it. So I would rather do that than the little NewBee drone B car thing. But I haven't. Oh god, the wires got me, and then it tried to eat my leg. So. Alright, that right there. So that massive hurl across the room. This has plenty of power. Plenty of power. Maybe more. I think this might actually have a little bit more power than what I was just flying. Even though that RPM is lower, the props are bigger. And so this feels like it has more power. He's so like unsure when it comes over in a friendly way. You can see like the wheels turning in his little head. Like, I don't think I need to protect my guy from this. 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So like I don't know. It feels like the runtime is a little bit shorter on these 1.4 inch setups. I could totally be wrong. It could be the way that I'm flying it. It could be a million different things, but I don't consistently see more runtime to be able to say like, hey, if you want more efficiency, 1.4 inch builds are the way to go. And I think that's because we are pushing these 0702s a little bit outside of their, at the very least, to the absolute limit of their kind of performance envelope. And they're maybe getting a little bit hot, and heat is an efficiency killer. And so, yeah, I don't know. Could be wrong, though. I mean, this is 40,000. These are 40,000 kV motors. Realistically, I just have to take one of my regular 1.2 inch builds and fly a whole bunch of batteries, write down all the runtimes, and then swap it and do the same exact thing. I should have done that with the NewBee drone race build because it was in the 1.4 inch frame, and then I just moved it to the 1.2 inch frame. But I just wasn't thinking. At some point, I'll do another one of these builds, or I'll pull one of these builds apart, and that'll be the perfect opportunity to kind of test that. One more battery in this guy. As you can see, they both fly amazing. I'm having just as much fun with one versus the other. I'm actually really interested and excited to go back to the 1.2 inch rig. But we're going to do another battery on here, and then we're going to do... Oh, hold on. Big boy battery is done. Okay, we're going to put big boy battery in. We're going to joust for a minute. I'm going to try not to crash because it'll completely demolish this thing. But we're going to put one of these giant Weebleed 465 mAh batteries in here, and I'm going to do that full throttle run upstairs to see what kind of RPM we get. A minute ago, we got 55,000 RPM. Let's see what we get with a battery that doesn't sag at all. Although I bet you it is going to sag. Here we go. Somebody do me a favor and keep an eye on the amps. Oh, the amps can't be right. There's no way in hell it's pulling 8 amps right now. That's not right at all. Yeah, look, it says that I took 57, 58, 59, 60 mAh out of the battery already. That's obviously not right. So the amp scaling is wrong. Ooh, boy. It is a lot heavier with this battery. Oh my god, yeah, it feels terrible with this battery. 55,450 RPM, I'll be damned. No extra RPM, really. That could be because it's so heavy, it's not getting up to speed. Oh, the last thing the only thing I didn't want to do. Oh, shit, and I didn't look at the RPM. Did anybody happen to see the RPM just now? I just disarmed a rearm so fast that I didn't even notice it. A lot of those stats refresh every time you arm and rearm. I'm going to stop flying this giant battery because if I nose this thing in really hard, it'll rip the battery leads off. This is not a Freestyle around the house battery. There you go. So 55,000 again. Okay, yeah. So it's not. I'll do that test outside, and I bet you we might see a little bit more than that. But that's actually a good indication that these propellers are, for sure, significantly more draggy than the 1.2 inch props. You know what I mean? Because it could only muster, even on a 40,000 kV motor with a massive battery, it could still only get 55,000 RPM. Islander FPV is right though; it didn't sag to a warning level, which is cool. I'm going to start to dial in the amp scaling on this. So here's how you do that. If you have a rig that in your OSD is obviously wrong, right? Like after 20 seconds, it said that we'd taken 50 mAh out. Here's how you set the amp scale rate. You can do this with a multimeter. There's a couple different ways to do this, but here's the easiest way to do it. Fly the thing. Notice if the amps are high or low, and then come in here to power and battery, and it's down here. It's the amperage meter down here. Here's the scale, and here's the offset. We don't care about this offset. We want to change the scale. And the way that I do it is, I know it's wrong. It's at 470 right now, so I'm going to change it to 1,000. I'm just going to kind of take a guess and save it, and then take it and put it back up in the air and see what the amps say. See if it's closer to being correct or if it's worse. Right? So there we go. Plug back in. 3 mAh, 4 mAh, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is much better. And look at the amps. The current amp reading is down at like 4 amps. That's a lot closer to correct. This is probably still not quite right, though. This is still probably a little bit low on that scale. But this is a lot better. And so now the next thing that you want to do, now that we're a little bit closer, and now that we know we're going in the right direction, you want to fly the whole battery. And I'm not going to do that because this is the big battery again. You want to fly the whole battery. And at the end of the battery, you're going to look at the OSD and see how many mAh you're going to fly a fully charged battery. At the end of the battery, you're going to look and see how much, how many milliamps the rig thinks that you took out of it. And if it's the exact rated number of mAh of the battery, you're good to go. If it's wrong, you need to change that again. And so I think I'm still a little bit too low. So let me plug in one more time real quick. You can do this in the on-screen, in the goggles OSD, but it's kind of buried in there, and it's kind of tough to find. So I actually just do it in here. I'm going to come back to power and battery, and I'm going to go from 1,000 to 1,300. I'm going to save that. And now we are going to fly a fully charged battery on this thing. And I'm going to try to remember at the end to look at the milliamps. 4.35. So here we go. Here's a fully charged battery. That scale is now at 1,300. I might have gone too far, but we'll know in a minute. Fully charged battery. And away we go. What the hell's going on here? Can you not? Jesus. Hold on. Battery is like not wanting to go into this frame. That's better. All right. We're going to fly a full battery. This is going to be like a full tilt freestyle battery because the goal here is, again, 1.2 versus 1.4. But there's a little bit of tech for you. Wow, it feels so much better with the regular 300 mAh battery. Hey! Oh god! Ah! We made it. I was under control the whole time. Oh god, what did I do there? Oh. Uh-oh. Woo! Ah, I forgot that I reversed the couch cushions. I thought you... Oh, shit. Usually this couch cushion here, with the open end... Oh, Teddy! Is here. And I forgot that I'd changed it, and I went to do that little high-banked turn around the couch and just blasted face first into that shit. Oh! Oh! Oh no! Oh god. No, what am I doing? That was almost cool. Oh, almost hit myself in the face. There's like, don't. Teddy's trying to get a tiny whoop caught in his beard tonight. Oh my god, what the hell was that? Oh man, I'm gonna have to go get it, aren't I? I don't know what's up, what's down. Where the fuck am I? I can see something there. Okay, fuck you. There's sort of a, oh my god, oh, I almost fell. Oh, fuck. I got a lot of hair tangled up in this one motor. Hold on. I don't think I can, I don't think it's fair to keep flying it like this. There's just a massive fluff ball in this, in motor number 4. I gotta get it out of here. There's like, there's just like a little bit of magic to the way that these 1.4-inch builds fly that I can't totally put my finger on. And I like it a lot. And like every time I fly one of these, I'm just like, ooh. And I mean, it might just be that it's different, right? Like it might just be that like, ooh, it has a little bit more float. Ooh, it still flies really good. What I think is really cool is that like, yes, there's less response time, but I'm not gonna say that it doesn't matter, but like, oh! I think that the response time is good enough that it kind of doesn't matter. Does that make sense? Oh! So I got that scale a little bit wrong. See how we're only at 172 mAh? I went a little too high on the scale. 1,000 was probably about right. Battery is at 363, 364, 365. So you can set that scale. Technically speaking, I should run this battery all the way down. Matter of fact, I'm gonna run this battery way the hell down, because otherwise that scale's not gonna be right. They don't measure the mAh of these batteries by running them from fully charged to 3.8. They run them like all the way down to 3.5. So I gotta run this down to the point where it bounces back here to 3.5 to get like an accurate kind of number. See, it's going 355. Well, that's pretty close, 356. Run it down a little bit more. Well, although, you know what? The scale is obviously wrong. We're only at 205 mAh. So the scale is definitely wrong, and it needs to get brought down from 1300. And so, yeah, let's do that real quick. Wow, I think 1,000 was about perfect. If you want to get the scale correct so that it reports the right number of amps, this is how you need to do it. The other way to do it is to not care about that and have that, you can set the scale more aggressively so that it counts faster and it gets to 300 mAh earlier. And then that's your like land now, so you don't run your batteries too far down. So like you can kind of customize this scale. If you do that though, the amp readout is going to be wrong. It's going to be low. I think it's going to be low, maybe high. I can't. At the moment, my brain is not braining. let's try. So it was only saying like 200, so we're like way off. So let's try 900 for the scale. And we'll do one more battery on this guy. Disconnect. This feels a lot lighter. I know that's kind of a open-ended thing to say, but this does feel just like a little bit lighter in the air. Like the ratio of power to all up weight is better, which it is. This makes more power, and that's interesting. Even though this build is a little bit heavier, because of the combination of it having more power, but also it having more propeller size. That's kind of cool that it feels lighter. I think the lower hover point is a part of that as well. But the main, I think one of the main things here is that it feels a little slower too. And that gives me a little bit more time to just kind of think and hopefully not crash. Oh, you know what I wanted to do? I wanted to spend some time under the couch. I want to make sure that the throttle resolution is okay. But let me set the midpoint. Make sure the midpoint's set properly first. 22, 23, 24, 25. I think I want the midpoint at like 25. So profile, rate. Yeah, I want to bump this midpoint up just a little bit. 24. Let's do 24. Okay. So let's try some super low elevation stuff. The first hurdle is getting over the fact that the hover point is so much lower. Oh boy, yeah, it's with the hover point being lower, it is going to make this a little more difficult because I have less resolution below the hover point. That's kind of interesting. And also I'm losing resolution from it having more power, right? Yeah, this is significantly harder. Still doable. Ugh. Oh my god, I usually can't do one of those. I just did two in a row. I mean, they were a little bit kind of ugly, but that coffee table power loop is one of the hardest tricks down here. So that's something that I used to do all the time that I haven't done in a while. This is a perfect... What the hell? I over-rotated and really confused myself there. That was weird. With the bigger props, this gives me more time to float in there. See that? Ay. MAH taken out is 238, 237. I'm going to keep flying. I'm going to run this battery down a little bit more than I normally do. Oh boy. You can kind of tell that I've hit Teddy in the face by now. He saw it coming. He was like, Alright, I'm not willing to run the battery any farther down than that. So 270 MAH taken out. So we're still a little bit high on that scale. Batteries, although look how high the battery's bouncing back to 3.63. You know, the scale is probably damn near perfect now. I hate to do this, but this is the time. This is the time to do it. God, 318. No, I can't fly it around under 3.10. MAH up to 288. Batteries bouncing back to 3.55. Oh, hi. I'm going to move that scale down just a little. Oh, look at it, 290. Batteries at 290 mAh. Let me put the battery on the charger and see what the charger says the voltage is. The charger says the charger says 3.78, but it's also like charging right now. Hold on. Let me stop it from charging. That's better. 3.65. So I think that scale is actually kind of perfect. And I'm gonna leave it there because the amp. I'm interested in. I don't look at the MAH taken out and figure out when I'm gonna land. I figure out when I'm gonna land from the voltage that the battery is at. So I don't really care about that MAH number being right, but I do occasionally look at and I'm sure you guys do too, look at how many amps it's pulling. So I'm going to prioritize the immediate amp reading over the MAH used. Really fun to fly. These, yeah, super fun to fly. We're going to go straight back to 1.2 inch builds. Straight in. Here we go. Dave S. says, you might need to average a few batteries. That would be a really good idea. Michoni says, how do you deal with loose battery trays, like on the Light AF 260 mAh lavas or loosey-goosey? Just like a quick wrap of tape will take care of that. I just let them rattle around in there, though. I literally don't do anything about it. I just ignore it, basically, is what I do. Fuck off. Don't you dare. Oh my god, this is going to be tough to get out of here. Ah! Teddy, look out, I'm coming through. Hey! Okay, yeah. Wow. So, the response time is way different. But boy, is this sliding around. Yeah, wow, okay. The smaller propellers and smaller frame have me feeling like I'm sliding all over the place. Every time I corner, it just wants to keep kind of going. Yeah, wow, I'm having to work. Okay, so that's one of the big reasons why the 1.4 inch rigs feel so good, is that they don't slide as much. The ratio of prop size to weight is better, right? The disc loading is, well, not better, but and so not only do you get more float, you get less slide. See that right there? See how I just like kept trucking towards the wall? I kept thinking that it was going to stop, but it wasn't stopping, and I had to make that last second, like, oh my god thing to keep it from smacking into the wall and falling down behind the damn shelf. These crashes, too, a lot of these crashes are being caused by it sliding around and sliding into stuff that I don't expect it to slide into. Wow. Anybody else just see that? Oh, you. Yeah, boy. I'm crashing a lot more right now, right? One of the ways that you can help with that on these 1.2 inch rigs is to run the triblade props. This might be why I've kind of come around and I'm really digging the triblade props lately on these 1.2 inch builds. It's also that the HQ 1.2 by 0.9 propellers are just really good, really well balanced, really lightweight. But Oh, it went through the goddamn cube gate, but then I couldn't keep it off the ground. Nope, that ain't gonna go. Ah! Oh, man. What the hell was that? Ah! Nope. Come on, man. So that crash right there was because of the higher hover point. I just didn't add enough throttle to keep it off the ground. 280 mAh taken out. Wow, I ran that battery really low. Oh my god. Oh my god, I ran that battery really low. I might have just ruined that battery. I grabbed the wrong rig. Yikes. Hold on. Let me put this battery straight back on the charge. Straight on the charger. Oh god, 3.3. Oh, yikes. 3.4. Yeah, I way over discharged that battery. Let's run another one. Damn. Okay, I'm really starting to pick up on the differences here. We got one more round of this coming with Betaflight rigs. I got a couple of similar Betaflight rigs that I'm gonna run, and by that point, I think I'll really be sort of dialed in. Tonight, I think I like the way that the between these two builds, I think I like the way that the bigger prop build feels. Last night I was kind of leaning the other direction, I think. But last night the 1.2 inch build was like 2 full grams lighter. Now that these two things weigh the same, it's a different story. Wow, this propeller is fucked. Look at this one. Look at this one prop on here. Yikes. The propeller is trying to make its own winglet to be more efficient. But you can't just do it in the middle of the blade there, fella. Now let's bend that back down. There we go. That's much better. That was making that propeller be very out of balance. Yeah, between these two rigs, even though I am getting more RPM on the 1.2 inch build, I'm crashing way more with it. Which, I mean, that makes sense, right? It weighs pretty much the same. It's a little bit lighter, but realistically it weighs the same. And it's 1.4 instead of 1.2. What's the percentage change? What's the percentage change from 1.2 to 1.4? Anybody? Anybody good at math? It's going to be probably like 16, 17% would be my guess. That's a lot. That is a lot. It might be even more than that though, because it's the area of the circle, right? Woo, boy. This prop don't want to come off. This is obviously one of the ones that I just rammed on there way too hard without drilling it out. Oh, shit. Let's fix that. This motor's got to... When I got this thing stuck, these motors picked up a shitload of hair. Hold on. Always, when you're getting these hairs out, always try to spin them out. Don't just yank on them and break them. Spin them in either direction. You can usually get them to unwind. And then you get the whole hair rather than just getting a piece of it. Nope, it's still connected. There it is. There's the whole thing. Okay, let's drill this prop out real quick. Islander FPV says the 1.2 inch are so responsive with lower drag. The bigger ducks on the 1.4 range give you more accuracy, but more time to react. Yeah, the 1.4 inch build is definitely slower. Definitely slower. Which inside the house for freestyle is a godsend. It's too much. It's too much for things to be happening this quick inside the house. But here's what's interesting about that is that the quicker response time gives you more time to react, right? Like that's the weird balance between these two. The bigger rig is slower, but with lower response time. So when I move the stick, it takes longer to react and to get where I want it to go. This guy's the opposite. It's faster, but the response time is quicker. So I move the stick, it gets where it needs to be. This is what's making bouncing back and forth between these two really difficult. When I test like one propeller against the other or one motor against the other, it's not that drastic of a difference between the two. And so I don't have to adjust like as much, right? Whereas with the prop size changes, it's quite an adjustment. So I should be flying like 50 batteries on one and then switching to the other. But I'm not. Here we go. I'm gonna have to go through chat. I know I'm behind on chat, but I just want to fly one more real quick here. Just one more, bro. Shift my hands up on the transmitter again too. The difference in hover point is kind of insane between these two. Damn it. That was going to be really cool looking. See? I'm not even getting it off the ground. Come on. Yeah, I got to really shift my hands forward on the controller. Transmitter. Ah! Come on! Hooker brother. Up! Nope, that ain't gonna go. Ah! You know what's interesting too? Not only is it gonna be slower, it's slower and it's more floaty. So, like what I'm trying to do right now is gonna be is gonna be a lot easier. This move will be a lot easier because I'll carry less momentum into it. Come on! What was that? I don't know. It just didn't... I don't know. I just didn't push the stick enough, I think. That's what just happened there, but that was weird. Jesus. See, so there's still good float there. Like I could still throw it up in the air in there and give myself good float. But look how many times it took me to get that. And like, yes, I'm readjusting to this rig, so it could just be that. But like, I keep feeling like the 1.4 inch setups are just easier to fly, and I just crash less. Which matters. God damn it. Stop hitting that. Get up on top there. Woo! Nope. This definitely has less power. Absolutely less power. Like, unquestionable. See this? See, when you get in the zone and you start moving fast, if this is how you want to fly, it's 1.2. If you want to fly crisp and fast like this, you need the response time of the 1.2s. If you want to fly slow and floaty and smooth like I do, I think it's a one. I think the 1.4 might be it. Fuck! Zero volts. Not good. Not good. What happened there? What, did I just over-discharge this battery? What was that about? The voltage fell off a fucking cliff. Like, kind of all at once. The battery's really hot. Why is the battery so hot? 3.1 volts. That's why. I just super over-discharged it. Oops. That was a good battery, too. That was one of the strongest batteries that I've got. Well, there you go. That's all the flying I'm going to do for tonight. That was a lot. But a lot of stuff is kind of coming to light between these two. Yeah. Flight style. Flight style is actually a really good way to choose between these two setups, to choose between these prop sizes. And there's no there's like kind of no arguing that. Like if you want to fly faster, if you want to fly faster freestyle, do the smaller prop build. If you want to fly more chill, more smooth, more floaty, the 1.4s. Yeah, that's a really cool way to kind of choose. My particular flight style is kind of more floaty, more chill, more. Really quickly, I said I was done flying, but I lied. We're going to put the other Mobula 6 2024 in the air. This is on 32,500 kV 0702s, and it's a little bit heavier, and it's on the tri-blades. Just for the sake of whatever. It's sitting here, and I wanted to do this to get like another point of sort of comparison. So these tri-blades, this is now the bigger setup, the bigger props, and tri-blades. So this should really be slow and chill and controlled and like go exactly where I put it. But now you're going to start getting into not enough float kind of territory. Transmitter's not turned on. Great. I'll just give it time to connect. Hey, there it goes. So 0702 32,500s with 1.5 millimeter motor shaft. Yeah, you can feel it. You turn and it stops. I turn and it stops. I turn and it stops. I turn, it stops. It just, it's like frozen where it's at. And so that makes it like more accurate, basically. What the hell's going on upstairs? And it's still got tons of power. Oh, let me do a high-speed run here while the battery's still fully charged. You might almost just hit a child in the face. Here comes a child. There's a child coming. Oh! 50,150 RPM. This is a really cool setup with these 1.5 millimeter motor shafts. I really like this build, actually. See how it's slower? See how it's just... Wow, I cut that corner real tight. So much so that it took it like a split second to adjust. That was kind of cool. Is that you, little boo? What are you doing? What the hell are you doing? What in the Sam Hill? Stop! Not you. Oh, let's do that same little move here. Ready? Oh, yeah. This is so much easier with the bigger propellers. See, that's a... Okay, yeah, there's a big difference. Still plenty of power. Wow, dude. Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop might be moving to 1.4-inch props. This is... After flying the little bi-blades, this is insane. This is an insane amount of, like, control and grip, and, like, goes where you want it to and not where you don't. What happened there? I think it landed on this corner. That was ridiculous. Look at how chill that is. Look at how much time I have. That's it, man. That extra time that it gives you. It's probably only like I'm sure it's only a fraction of a second, but like from a percentage, it's probably like 40% extra time. That's huge. Oh. It just goes. It goes where I want it to, rather than like where it wants to. And look at that runtime, 255. Yeah, that's wild. That's I'm certain that you can see the difference, right? All right, let me get caught up on chat, and then we'll shut this shit down because I'm sure little Boo's come down here to watch more Dexter.
Maybe. Okay.
Kill them with pliers.
Okay.
Don't kill children. Don't. Damn. That's crazy. That's a crazy difference. Of course, that one propeller that for whatever reason is impossible to push down on the motor is the one that keeps getting clogged up with hair. I have to keep taking it on and off. All right. Little by little, though, I'm cleaning up all the hair in this place. That's a shocking difference there. Wait, I forgot to unplug it. Very cool. Very, very cool. I gotta give this rig a little bit more love. We're gonna try the Runcam Nano 7 on this guy, I think. That has a good setup. 0702, 32,500s, 1.5mm motor shafts. The only problem with doing that is that you can only run these propellers. The 1mm motor shafts will let you run the Gemfan 35S props, which are really, really good. But for a basher setup, this is damn good. Wow, man, that's bananas. And that battery I just flew, I had to adjust. Right? I think I was just flying this little guy, and so I had to adjust to that. Tonight, it took me like 15 times longer to adjust to the smaller rig than the bigger ones. The 1.4-inch rigs, and it might be because I've been flying them a lot lately, in fairness. But yeah, the 1.4-inch rigs, like, they just go. They go where they should go. Where like my brain is like, I want you to go through this gate now, bro. And that, like, you know, why is that happening? I'm not totally sure, but does it really matter? Like, it's happening, and that's what matters. The why is a lot less important. Dude, that's okay. Let me weigh this one that we just flew real quick. Because it is the Mobula 6 2024 V1 AIO with the direct... No, it's not. This thing is going to be heavier. Watch this. Oh my god, it's a fat bastard. It's 19.2 grams. And it was like the easiest to fly all night. That's weird. Even though it's heavier, the tri-blades make it super controllable. That's insane. That's insane. I like it. I like it a lot. Did I run this battery down? I did. All right. Cool. We get caught up on chat, and then I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Betty Bravo says, for the 1.4-inch props, obviously. Not sure what we were talking about. Let me go back. I was going to read bottom to top, but I can scroll up and do this chronologically. Jarbeezy says, oh no, we got that. Kazuma says, I'm going to do some art and post it in Discord. Keep an eye out for it in a week. It's always purple and green. Nice. Islander FPV says, next time you plan on flying... Oh no, we got that. Talked about that one. Dronesen says, have you thought about... Talked about that one. Dronesen says, that's fair. Bummer for the drift guys. I know they have a hard time finding spots, kind of like we do with Fly 5-inch stuff, yeah. Straker says, what's the smallest quad you can freestyle the 04 with? Still a good amount of power. Have you settled on an AIO for the 04 stuff yet in terms of 2S? I would assume 2S for this type of thing. I did an entire live stream looking at all of the AIOs that'll work with 2S and the 04. I don't necessarily have a favorite. I guess the Betaflight one with no USB port on the bottom is my favorite because it allows you to use the Mobula 7 V4 frame. If you cut the battery supports off the bottom. But yeah, all of the AIOs seem fine for 2S. Smallest rig to freestyle the 04 with is going to be a 75. The 65 millimeter builds, the runtime sucks. It's just too heavy. It's just too goddamn heavy. It's not an indoor freestyle rig. It's an outdoor freestyle rig. There's no way to freestyle hard inside the house with digital because of how heavy it is. It's gonna break the things that you own. The runtime is gonna suck. You're gonna sacrifice power for runtime. It just doesn't work. Asking too much. Michoni Bamboni says, how do you... Oh, we got that. Dave S. says, you might need... Oh, we got that. Striker says, that's why I have a feeling I'm going to love the 1.4s. Love that slide. Well, they don't slide, though. That's the opposite. They don't have the slide. For Venny rolls and Rubik's Cubes through the gates. Yeah, no, the 1.2s are going to do that better. The 1.4, when you go to do those things, it's going to just stop. You're not going to have any momentum left by the time you flip it around. It's just going to completely stop in place. So you'll kind of want to do those movements, let it stop, and then go back the other direction, versus doing those movements and trying to fly out of it. It's going to look, I think it's going to look awkward because it's going to stop, and then you're going to have to put the nose down to fly out of it. Islander FPV, talked about that one. Calvin says, I panic bought a bunch of analog Tiny Whoop stuff and don't remember what my build plans were when I bought them. Striker says, tempted to do 2S 2-inch 04, but I just can't decide on an AIO. Just close your eyes and point at one of the AIOs, you'll be fine. Cole Power says, maybe your ratio of disk to loading went up. Is that in reference to maybe like 2 blades versus 3 blades? I don't think disc loading dives into the number of blades that the propellers have. I think it's just the diameter of the propellers. PUC with the last comment on live stream, it says currently 2G4 or Betaflight Air and also Betaflight 30 or happymodel 28. 2G4 is super durable, but a little bit heavier. Betaflight Air AIO is incredibly lightweight, but fragile. So yeah, if I don't do the Betaflight Air AIOs anymore, they're just not fragile enough. They're just not durable enough. Betaflight has a matrix 5-in-1 AIO that weighs the same as the 2G4 that I'm a much bigger fan of, but I would just rather go with the 2G4. Betaflight 30,000 or happymodel 28,000 is easy. The Betaflight 30,000s are going to make ass loads of power. The happymodel 28,000s are not going to make... They're going to make like an average amount of power. So those two motors are completely different. Betaflight underrates their kV, happymodel overrates their kV. So the Betaflight 30,000 kV is actually like 35,000 kV, and then the happymodel 28,000 kV is actually like 24 or 25,000 kV. So huge difference between those two motors. Cole Powers actually, with the last comment of the live stream, he says, I meant that the change in disk area was greater than the change in overall weight. Oh, right. Because disc loading obviously factors in the all up weight. Yeah, the disc loading of this, the last thing that we flew, which is a Fat Boy, is probably closer to the disc loading of this. And then this lightweight 1.4 inch build has a drastically different disc loading. Thanks for hanging, friends. CiottiFPV.com to support me. If you don't, the child on the other side of this room will die, and it'll be on you. Don't do it. Don't do it to her. Don't be the reason that she starves to death. Thanks, friends. CiottiFPV.com. Click a bunch of stuff. Subscribe. Thumbs up. All that nonsense. I love you. Bye. See you on Wednesday. I'm not ready. Here's some more of me flying around in Dr. J's son's brand new house. Come on. There it is. There's a good pass for you. Love you. Bye.